most people who try fasting and quit somewhere around 10 hours, 11 hours, maybe 12 hours, they feel tired, they feel hungry, they think, okay, it's not working, and they eat. Here's what they don't know. They stopped right before their body was about to do something extraordinary. Because here's what the science actually shows. Your organs don't just go quiet when you stop eating. They go to work, and they work on a very specific schedule. 12 hours, 18 hours, and 24 hours. 3 biological windows. 3 completely different things happening inside your liver, your brain, your gut, your heart, and your cells. And today, backed by research from the NIH, Johns Hopkins Medicine, Nature Journal, and Frontiers in Nutrition, I'm going to walk you through exactly what is happening inside your body at each of those hours. Stay until the end. Because what happens at 24 hours is the part almost nobody talks about. And it might be the most important thing your body can do for long-term health. But before we go there, I want to ask you something. How long is your longest fast? Drop it in the comments right now. 12 hours? 16? 24? Because here's something interesting. Most of the people who say fasting doesn't work for them, they all stopped at the same hour. And by the end of this video, you'll know exactly why. All right, let's get into it. Before we break this down hour by hour, you need to understand one key thing. Fasting is not a light switch. It's a dimmer. Your body doesn't flip from fed to fat burning in an instant. It goes through distinct metabolic phases, and each phase triggers a different set of changes in a different set of organs. Think of it like a relay race happening inside you. Your liver runs the first leg. Your fat cells take the baton. Then your liver again. Then every single cell in your body crosses the finish line. The problem is most people stop watching the race before it gets good. So let's run through it. Milestone by milestone, organ by organ. 12 hours, the handoff. Around 3 to 4 hours after your last meal, your blood sugar starts falling and insulin levels begin to drop. Your liver, the unsung hero of fasting, kicks into action. It begins breaking down its stored glycogen. That's essentially a reservoir of glucose it keeps on standby. Think of it like a backup generator. Now, the average person has about 80 to 120 grams of glycogen stored in their liver. The liver releases that glucose slowly, roughly 2 to 3 grams per hour to keep your brain and muscles fueled. At 12 hours, that generator is almost out of fuel. This is the moment most people experience hunger and fatigue. And they think it means fasting isn't working. But here's what's actually happening. Your pancreas has been cutting insulin, the hormone that locks fat inside your fat cells. Less insulin means the lock is coming off. Your body is now looking for a new power source. And it finds one. Fat cells begin releasing fatty acids through a process called lipolysis. Those fatty acids flood into your bloodstream and head straight to your liver, which starts converting them into something the brain can use. This is the metabolic handoff. The moment your body stops running on last night's dinner and starts running on you. Now something else is quietly happening at 12 hours that most people completely overlook. Your small intestine is undergoing one of the most dramatic gene expression changes of the entire fast. According to research published on NCBI, thousands of gene transcripts are altered in the gut during this window. The intestine is essentially pausing its normal cell turnover, conserving energy, and preparing for a very different metabolic environment. Your gut is not resting. It's recalibrating. And your pancreas has now dropped insulin to a level that signals the rest of your body we're switching fuels. 12 hours isn't the end of fasting. It's the beginning of what fasting actually does. 18 hours, the ignition. By 18 hours, something shifts and you can almost feel it. The hunger that peaked around 12 to 16 hours, for many people it starts to fade. That's not a coincidence. That's biology. Your liver is now ramped up ketogenesis, converting fatty acids into ketone bodies, specifically beta-hydroxybutyrate, acetoacetate, and acetone. These ketones enter your bloodstream and travel to your brain. And your brain, it starts using them. Now, the brain normally runs almost exclusively on glucose. But research from Intech Open shows that during extended fasting, the brain can shift to getting 60 to 70% of its energy from ketones. That's not a small change. That's a near complete fuel swap for your most energy hungry organ. And with ketones comes something remarkable. The brain starts producing more BDNF, brain-derived neurotrophic factor. This is a protein that supports the growth, survival, and connection of neurons. Researchers at Johns Hopkins and Karger Publishers have linked intermittent fasting to increased BDNF levels, improved memory, and reduced neuroinflammation. Your brain at 18 hours is not foggy. It is sharper than it's been all day. Some people describe it as mental clarity they've never felt before. Now you know why. But the brain isn't the only organ igniting at 18 hours. Let's talk about growth hormone. A randomized controlled trial registered on clinicaltrials.gov found that water-only fasting produces a substantial increase in human growth hormone within 24 hours. And at 18 hours in, that surge is building. Why does this matter? Heat tells your fat cells to keep releasing fatty acids for fuel. It protects your muscle tissue. It activates fat burning pathways that no workout alone can trigger. And here's the gut update at 18 hours. Research published in Frontiers in Endocrinology and the Wiley Journal Food Science and Nutrition found that fasting at around 18 hours, similar to the Ramadan fasting pattern, increases the abundance of beneficial gut bacteria, specifically Lactobacillus and Ruminococcus. These families are linked to better metabolic health, improved insulin sensitivity, and reduced inflammation. Your gut microbiome is being rebuilt while you fast. And your heart? It's now running partially on ketones too, and animal studies suggest fasting induces stronger myocardial contraction. Your heart may actually be working more efficiently at 18 hours than it does after a heavy meal. This is why researchers at Johns Hopkins say intermittent fasting can protect organs against chronic diseases like heart disease, type 2 diabetes, and even age-related brain disorders. 18 hours is where the real transformation begins. Most people will never experience it. 24 hours, the deep clean. This is the one. If fasting has a superpower, this is it. At around the 24-hour mark, your body activates a process called autophagy. Let me explain what that means because the word sounds complicated, but the concept is one of the most important things in modern medicine. Autophagy literally means self-eating. Inside every one of your cells, tiny structures form and begin hunting for damaged proteins, broken organelles, and cellular junk that has accumulated over time. They engulf that debris, drag it to a cellular compartment that breaks it down, and the cell reuses the raw materials. It is quite literally your body doing a deep clean at the microscopic level. Research published in Nature Scientific Reports confirms that around the 24-hour mark is when cells begin accelerating this identification and removal of damaged components, and scientists have flagged this as a key factor in longevity. The 2016 Nobel Prize in Physiology or Medicine was awarded for the discovery of autophagy mechanisms. That's how significant this is. And at 24 hours, it's ramping up inside you. Now let's check in on your liver at 24 hours. According to research from NCBI using genome-wide transcriptomic analysis of liver tissue, the liver's adaptive response to fasting peaks at 24 hours. The dominant processes: fat oxidation, ketone production, and energy metabolism. Your liver at this moment is running at peak metabolic efficiency. Blood glucose levels have dropped roughly 20% from your fed state, but you don't feel it, because ketones are covering the demand. Gluconeogenesis, the process of making glucose from amino acids, is now the liver's only way to maintain blood sugar. Your body is pulling from every available source to keep you going. And the immune system? Research from Intech Open shows that at 24 hours, fasting measurably reduces 3 key inflammation markers: C-reactive protein, tumor necrosis factor alpha, and interleukin-6. These are the same markers elevated in chronic disease, metabolic syndrome, and autoimmune conditions. One clinical trial examining plasma proteins found that out of nearly 3,000 proteins studied over 1,000 changed significantly during water-only fasting, most of them independent of any weight loss. Your body's not just losing fat, it is rewriting its own biology. And your kidneys? By 24 hours, fasting has triggered natriuresis. The kidneys begin excreting excess sodium, which helps bring blood pressure down. Meanwhile, beta-hydroxybutyrate, the main ketone in your bloodstream, is now serving as an alternative fuel source for the kidneys, heart, brain, and muscles simultaneously. Your entire body has shifted. Every organ is running on a different fuel. Every cell is cleaning house. This is what 24 hours feels like from the inside. Now I want to be straight with you. The science here is real, but I also want to be responsible. Not everyone should fast for 24 hours. Johns Hopkins Medicine specifically notes that going too long without eating may not be better, and for some people, it can be dangerous. If you have diabetes, kidney disease, a history of eating disorders, are pregnant, or on medication, please talk to your doctor before attempting extended fasting. For most healthy adults, a 16 to 18 hour fast is where the evidence is strongest and most achievable. The 24-hour window adds additional benefits, but requires care and hydration. The goal here is not to suffer through hunger. The goal is to understand what your body is capable of and make informed choices. So let's recap what you now know that most people don't. At 12 hours, your liver glycogen is depleted, insulin has dropped, lipolysis has begun, and your gut is recalibrating at the genetic level. At 18 hours, ketones are fueling your brain, BDNF is rising, growth hormone is surging, your gut microbiome is reshaping, and your heart is running on cleaner fuel. At 24 hours, autophagy is accelerating in every cell. Your liver hits peak metabolic adaptation, inflammation drops, and your immune system shifts into a repair state. Most people quit at 10 hours or 12, right before their body was about to do something incredible. Now you know better. If this video helped you understand your own biology a little differently HIT-like, share it with someone who's curious about fasting. And subscribe if you want more content like this backed by real science. And drop a comment below. What hour do you usually stop your fast? I read every single one. I'll see you in the next one.